My name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to another review. So this is episode 9 of the Traitors. Yeah, it's getting a lot more difficult and stressful, even just watch the programme and even analyse it because there's so much going on. We're losing people, but there is so much more going on with the rest of them. So, at the beginning of this episode, we found out that obviously Amanda was going to do the kind of kiss of death. They had decided it was either going to be Andrea, Amos or Theo, just purely because all three of them seem to be quite good at the game, quite strategic. And we actually found out it was Amos that got the kiss of death, so he was removed from the game and there were 10 people left. So we saw a kind of what happened the night before video, and we saw Amanda and Wilfred kind of sitting there with everyone, and they were both kind of a bit like, how was this going to happen, because it was out in the open, everyone was there watching. And she kind of just went over, sat next to Amos, gave him a kiss on the cheek and said goodnight. And then when he revealed that he got the letter to say that obviously he'd been murdered by the traitors, yeah, he read a line saying that he'd received the kiss of death, and he was thinking, hang on, well, who kissed me? He got a kiss from everyone. So even at that point, he still kind of wasn't really aware who the traitors were. So yeah, he kind of left the game, and it was either Andrea, Amos or Theo who wasn't going to come to breakfast, and it was obviously Amos. So when he didn't walk through the door and Andrea did, obviously they were happy to see Andrea, but Kieran was actually really upset that that Amos, kind of his buddy, had gone. So at this point there were only 10 people left. So he had 8 faithfuls, so Kieran, Faye, Aaron, Theo, Maddie, Meryl, Hannah and Andrea, and then the two traitors, Wilfred and Amanda. So they were the top 10. So yeah, Kieran basically admitted before Amanda walked in that he kind of felt like she was a dark horse, because Wilfred actually asked who hadn't been targeted as of yet, and everyone kind of said, well, Amanda and Theo. So they were kind of the two that people had then eyes upon, that they would kind of, yeah, just slowly just getting through the game. Theo kind of admitted he had a safety blanket with Amanda, that he could trust her, and Claudia Winkleman explained that Amos's fate was sealed at last night's party. So she kind of told everyone that the murder was done in plain sight. Also, something that I noted from this part, as soon as Hannah walked in, Wilfred was over dramatically cheering with excitement, and I think she even looked a bit confused, because obviously he chose Faye as his most trustworthy or most faithful, not Hannah. Had that little apology. So yeah, it was kind of a little bit over dramatic, especially knowing that he didn't even pick Hannah, he picked Faye. And then yeah, as soon as Claudia announced that the fate was sealed at the last night party, Faye actually looked directly straight at Wilfred. So I'm not sure if, like, he didn't look back at her, he didn't see her looking, but she kind of gave him like the death eyes. So I'm not sure if she's kind of worked out, actually potentially this guy could not be as trustworthy as we all think he is. Kieran said that they need to get rid of one of the traitors quickly, the gloves are off. Obviously he wasn't very happy. Amos was kind of the last straw. He kind of said to a few of the other people the traitors had agreed at the party who they were going to get rid of. So I'm guessing that was kind of getting people to think, well, actually who wasn't there the whole time, or who kind of seemed to be spending more time with someone who maybe hasn't spent time with that person before, or maybe has spent time with that person before. So that kind of obviously gave people ideas of working out potentially who the traitors could be. Wilfred and Hannah had a chat. Obviously Wilfred and Hannah were both quite sad. Wilfred actually apologised to her for not obviously choosing her as the most faithful, and she said that she kind of thought that maybe he was going against her, or that was there something she did wrong, or for example, and they both kind of said, I think Wilfred more, that Amos would have been a good team player, and obviously he was good in the challenges, and that's probably why he was removed from the game. Faye said that if she was to win, she would take some of the kids at her school to things like Disneyland, Paris, or on holiday somewhere. Theo said that both Aaron and Faye seemed quite cool, calm and collective, traitory vibes, because again, I think he compared it to Alyssa, that she was also quite cool, calm and collective, but obviously she ended up being a traitor. Hannah also said that you can't rule out Maddie, so although she came out with her being an actress and not obviously taking the money and staying in the game, being a team player, there is still potential that she could be a traitor. And Maddie also said that she is still thinking that Aaron or Wilfred are traitors, at least one of them, and that she can't think any differently, because once she has an idea in her head, that's kind of what she has to go by. She also was trying to have a chat with Aaron as to kind of where his head was at, and saying that she was kind of about to start saying why she thought Aaron was the traitor, and he kind of cut her off saying, stop talking, Maddie, I just don't want to listen to it anymore. So again, it's kind of getting the traitors a little bit more excited, because then the faithfuls will not trust each other, so they'll end up taking each other out and they'll kind of sail through again another day at least. Andrea also said that she noticed that Amos and Kieran both voted for Wilfred, so is that maybe a sign potentially that he could be a traitor? Maddie said that there was something in that as well. And again, I think Maddie noted that Alyssa had said that Wilfred was deflecting the situation, so instead of saying I'm not a traitor and I'm a faithful la, he kind of just deflected it and then put blame elsewhere. And Wilfred said that it was a bit suspicious that Amanda had put Theo up as 100%, and now saying that he hasn't been questioned and potentially could be a traitor. Again, Wilfred going against another traitor. Remember, he already did this with Alyssa, which is why she went out. So Wilfred is now kind of backstabbing Amanda, not in front of everyone, and obviously not in front of Amanda herself, because otherwise she would take him out. But he's kind of now putting in another seed that potentially Andrea is also another one you can't trust. We then went on to the games. So the final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them played a game. So Team Yellow was Faye, Traitor, Amanda and Theo. Red team were 4 of the faithfuls, Hannah, Maddie, Andrea and Aaron. And in the black team was Kieran, again Wilfred the traitor, and Meryl. So the only team that didn't have a traitor was the red team. So I was kind of rooting for the red team. The game was called Truth Hunt. Each team had 45 minutes to get to the finish, and all they had to do is they were in their car, there was a little question in a box, and they had to just answer true or false. If they got the question correct, they were taken to the next question. If they got it incorrect, they were taken to a dead end, had to turn around, drive back, and then obviously go the other way. And that would obviously take time, so wasting time for the challenge. And for each team that correctly got all 5 questions correct, whether first or on second attempt, it'd be an extra 2,000 per team. And the winning team would have a pass to the armory to have a shield from murder that night. So the 5 questions, I think the first 3, all of the teams kind of agreed. Question 1, Wilfred will be most likely to cheat a lie detector. They all said false. Again, Wilfred said that if that's how they're thinking about him, that's fine. At least that kind of gets the accusations off of him. So again, all teams got that question correct. Second question, Meryl would commit an illegal crime for £1 million. Again, all teams said true. She said she would, and Hannah added actually it didn't necessarily need to be like a murder or a crime. Question 3 was actually asking whether Faye is the most controlling player according to the group. All 3 teams put true. Faye kind of said that it didn't affect her, it was just more of a weird question, and how kind of the teams thought about her. Or again, I think with Faye, because she already had those other words mentioned about her in the previous game, she's now got all these new accusations, so she needs to kind of turn this negative energy or these negative questions into actually, I'm not a traitor, I'm a faithful. And she keeps mentioning that otherwise the traitors would have got rid of her, but they obviously like her, or they obviously like her way of gameplay, and that's why she stayed in thus far. Question 4 asked whether Andrea and Hannah are the ones that put in the least effort. The black team said true. The yellow team and red team both said false. The correct answer was false, so that meant Kieran, Wilfred and Meryl were a little step behind. And then question 5 was Theo the funniest? All 3 teams put true. The correct answer was false, so obviously all 3 of those teams then drove the wrong way, then they drove the right way. Yellow came third, red came second, but the blue team got there first, which meant that so it wasn't even a blue team. Oh, black team, sorry, yeah. I thought I called the blue team black team, but yeah, the black team, Kieran, Wilfred and Meryl, who obviously were at the back, then kind of overtook everyone else, and it was over to one of them who was going to get the shield. In total, obviously, they got another 6,000 added to the pot, and Hannah decided that she wanted to take the black and white flag from Claudia, because she was waving their finishing flag, so she decided to take that with her. And then out of the 3, it was Meryl that received the shield. She mentioned that to Wilfred, so kind of a bit of a risky move, because then that means that he's not going to tell Amanda to vote for Meryl, because then that would be a waste of a murder and they wouldn't actually get anyone out of the game. So she kind of said that she kind of had a bit of a big mouth, so she sometimes just says things, so maybe she will regret that, maybe it won't make a difference to the game, who knows. Faye and Amanda had a quick chat as well. I think Faye is a little bit suspicious of Amanda, and she said that there were some questions there in order to look at people in a different way, questioning why that she was still here. And then she said to Amanda, I know I'm 100% faithful, what about you? And Amanda said, yeah, I'm faithful as well. Maybe there's a little bit of, actually, does Faye trust Amanda as much as we think she does? Aaron said that Theo was giving him the same vibes as Alyssa, it's kind of being quiet, kind of only speaking when being spoken to. And Faye actually mentioned that Theo didn't vote for Alyssa on the night that she went. I think he voted for somebody else. So maybe, is he going against the team, or maybe he was on the same team as Alyssa? Didn't want to seem like he was going against his own traitor friend. So I think at this point, Aaron and Faye, neither of them trust Theo, and Theo doesn't really trust Aaron. Maddie also doesn't really trust Aaron, so that's kind of where that little situation is. Maddie also said to Theo that she had suspicions on Aaron, as he got rid of someone who he had the least connection with, and I think Theo agreed on that as well, that obviously Aaron wasn't really close to Amos, so that's why he got rid of him. Hannah added that she didn't actually think Aaron was a traitor, so you got a few of them thinking yes, a few of them thinking no. For the traitors, this is brilliant because it's a name on the table, so whoever goes, Aaron will be one of the names that will be chucked around somewhere, so there's always an excuse to put him down. And Wilfred said that he was prepared to go under scrutiny again at the round table, because obviously there's less and less people in the game, and Hannah said that at the table she changes her mind about 5 times. So the total prize fund, 74,100. 10 people left currently, and they decided to start off the round table with Theo. So he'd basically just said, obviously the team is getting smaller, the bonds are getting stronger, and his theory about the Amos situation, he kind of said, well, obviously the people that weren't going to get chosen were the people on the team potentially who could have got the shield, and the person who had the least connection with Amos was Aaron, because he was close to Theo, he was close to Amanda, he was close to the others on the team, but he just didn't have a close connection with Amos, so he kind of threw it at Aaron. Aaron threw it straight back at Theo, and Theo basically said that he can't hide his emotions. When he's tired, he's tired, and that yeah, he's just being the truest self that he can be. Andrew also said that Theo is sometimes a little bit too sensitive, with Theo basically saying, well, I'm not going to change who I am, and if that's going to be a quality that's going to get me out of the game, then that's not really evidence, or that's not really something you should go on. And he also said that whoever seems to lead the table is the one who seems to be targeted as kind of like an easy option. And then we kind of had a complete change of conversation. So Hannah didn't accuse Maddie, but she just mentioned, and she just was curious as to why Maddie didn't mention the acting career thing. I think she kind of compared it to herself. Obviously Hannah's a comedian. She kind of said if she mentioned that, then obviously people will have potentially thought differently of her. So why was it any different from Maddie? Why could she not have also mentioned she did acting? And she just felt like she didn't really want to mention it because she didn't want to have people thinking she was a traitor straight away or having negative intentions. And she also explained that at the dinner she kind of felt like a bit of an outcast because it seemed like no one had her back. But also the fact that she didn't take the money and wanted to stay in the game should prove that she was a faithful. Hannah or Kieran, I think the both of them or someone else said that even though she didn't take the money, she could still be a traitor, and Faye added that actually that was a very, very brave move for Maddie to do, and she doesn't think that Maddie is a traitor. So I think Maddie has at least one person on side, so that's Faye as of now, but it's still difficult to work out who is on side with who. When it came down to the votes, for the first 5 votes, Theo and Maddie both voted for Aaron. Andrea, Aaron and Amanda all voted for Theo, again for their different reasons. And then for the final 5 votes, we had a Maddie, a Theo, Maddie, Theo and a Theo, and also was really, really upset on the podium because obviously he knew he was a faithful, crying his eyes out, told them all he was a faithful. Maddie kind of said that she knew he was. Hannah kind of questioned everyone else, saying, well, did you actually think he was a traitor, or were you just kind of following everyone else? And I think Amanda quickly jumped up to say that based on the evidence and the Aaron theory, yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I think Amanda was basically the first one to speak up and go, yeah, just based on how he was acting a bit weird, or I think with Aaron that he was quite distant, he said, that's what Aaron said, that he was quite distant from him, and other people were saying he's a bit emotional and that kind of thing, that's why he was out, and that left 9 players left. So Maddie, Andrea, Aaron, Amanda, Meryl, Wilfred, Hannah, Faye and Kieran, 3 guys still left, and 6 ladies. Yeah, so Hannah kind of was a little bit weirded out. She kind of said to the camera that it was weird for Amanda voting for Theo because she put him as her 100% and then changed her vote and went for Theo, so a little bit of suspicion there from Hannah. Amanda said that obviously Theo was a great asset, that's why he had to go. The fact that he was kind of probably about to start detecting who the traitors were, and also he was quite good at the games. So yeah, as the games are getting more difficult, you need to start getting rid of the good people. Maddie, Faye and Wilfred all had a quick chat about Amanda voting for Theo and the whole that she trusted him 100% and then kind of then put his name on the board. And again, this is where Wilfred started the backstab situation with Amanda. Again, obviously Amanda wasn't in the room. He kind of was speaking to Maddie, Faye. I think Maddie and Faye are on the same wavelength as Wilfred, or they at least, well, obviously Maddie doesn't really trust Wilfred, but maybe she now does. We know Hannah definitely does trust Wilfred, so we just need to get people, well, obviously I don't know which side I'm playing here, but if they want to get the traitors out, they have to go with Maddie / Hannah's collective ways of Maddie not trusting Wilfred, Hannah not trusting Amanda, get them both out. For the traitors, they kind of need to deflect. So they need to continue going for Maddie, continue going for Aaron. Obviously they've got rid of Amos and Theo now, so yeah, it's a bit of a, depending on which team you're on, it's difficult and different gameplay as well. Once Theo was removed from the game, Faye basically explained it as dreadful, awful and savage, and again also mentioned the fact that Amanda had voted for him after also voting for him as 100% the night before. So again, Faye's kind of on that same wavelength as, hang on, you can't do one thing and then do something else. Wilfred and Amanda had a quick chat as well. For Amanda, she said it was a life-changing opportunity in order to win the money. For Wilfred, obviously it was a bit difficult misleading people and getting rid of them from the game. It's been the most difficult thing in his life, but again, they both agreed that you just have to play the game. They thought about whether they should seduce Meryl to get her to become a traitor. I think Amanda basically said she's too excitable and that she potentially ruined the game. They couldn't murder Kieran, because again, Wilfred, Kieran and Meryl potentially could have got the shield, and if they get rid of Kieran, Meryl will know that Wilfred's a traitor because he was the only other person there. Wilfred said that Aaron's a close friend, but they sometimes have to do what they have to do, so potentially he's an option to be removed. They said that Andrea potentially could be switched in terms of her mindset by some of the other influential people, which includes Faye, and also Faye really likes Wilfred as well. So yeah, you would kind of assume that the traitors would be people that are not friends. By getting rid of Aaron, Faye or Andrea, it shows that it's not Amanda or Wilfred because they're close with all three of them, or that they turned their back on him. So I think at the end of the episode, they decided it was either Aaron, Faye or Andrea who was going to be taken out of the game next. And Wilfred, right at the end of the episode, said it might even come to a point where he would even need to strategize a plan in order to get rid of Amanda if he needs to. So he's not saying he'll go against her, he's just saying potentially if he needs to get rid of her, then he'll think of a game plan in order to do that without her getting him first. So that'll be quite interesting. But yeah, 9 people left. Maddie, Andrea, Aaron, Amanda, Meryl, Wilfred, Hannah, Faye and Kieran. 3 episodes to go. So let's see what happens in episode 10, and I'll be back very shortly with another review. But until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.